Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, today is the fourth and the last day of the Back to School webinar. If you can hear me, if you can see me, then please let me know in the comments. Our guest is already here. I'm sure that we are still logging in. Wherever you are joining us from, kindly let me know in the comments. You're welcome to the very last day of the Back to School webinar. I'd like to hear from you in the comments. What has been your experience on this journey, on this 4-day journey? Yes, we've been on this journey for 4 days now, and it has been amazing. I'm sure that you have had lots and lots and lots and lots of aha moments. It has been a wonderful time coming across to you every night for the past 4 days. And we have had an amazing we've lost a little bit of time because of the net right, you're welcome once again. There was a glitch, but that has been sorted. Yes, we are here on day 4 of the Back to School webinar, and our guest is already here. So without wasting any more of your time, I'm going to introduce our guest and then we go right off. Please write on the different platforms that we are here, we are live, and we are already on the road. We have begun with our session for tonight. Yes, we've lost quite a good amount of time. Usually it takes some time to set up with the network challenges that we are having, but I'm glad that we are finally going through smoothly. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to invite our guest, Mr. Said Zeze, to come on. And let's catch up with time because yes, it's the last day and we still have a good amount of ground to cover. And I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get in all that we have prepared for you tonight. We're going to be able to get it across to you because trust me, you know, the last, as they always say, is always saved. The best is always saved for last. So I see Mr. Sain Dede is already in place, is already here. And without wasting any more of your time, I'm going to introduce him and he's going to share with us all the goodies that he has brought for us tonight. So Mr. Sain Dede is He's an elementary teacher, he's an educational leader, an SDG advocate, a social change ambassador, admissions and scholarships hacks expert, a graphic designer, social media community manager, and a social communicator. Yes, such a heavy CV. So it's so great to meet you, so great to have you here with us, Mr. Sainzide. We are honored that you took out time to come out here and educate us on how to help our children collaborate with how to help parents collaborate with their children's teachers. Yes, that's what we are going to be getting here first. He's going to enlighten us on how to collaborate with our children's teachers. So over to you, Mr. Saintizi.
All right, Dr. Jen, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much. Can you get me?
Yes, can you hear me, please? Well. You're welcome.
All right. Yes, thank you very much
hear you. Loud and
for
clear.
having me. It's such a pleasure to be in this purposeful parenting community.
Right on, we can hear you.
I think you are doing quite a lot that every parent should actually long to be in such a community. Because when I look around, I see parents grappling with a lot. Some are confused and they don't really know what to do, from where to start, and a lot is happening. Given the challenging times in which we live, the numerous distractions that parents have in this century are enormous. And with such a platform, I believe that they will get the necessary help that they need to be purposeful parents, to be purpose-driven parents, parents who parent with intentionality and with with an objective in mind. Today's topic, it's really a very important topic, given my experience as a school leader and as a classroom teacher. For the past 10 years, I've seen parents and teachers have different definitions of what collaboration is supposed to be. Some people or some parents believe that to collaborate with their children's teacher is to give them tips, or is to come and, maybe fold something and give to the teacher. Some teachers as well believe that collaboration with the parents is when the parents maybe tip them. I mean, some teachers, that's what some teachers believe. And with all this, I think this topic to clarify some of these doubts that parents and teachers have about collaboration, so that we get to have the definition of collaboration that will go a long way to help our children attain their full potential as far as academic performance is concerned. Anyway, collaboration actually should be for the holistic development of a child, to improve on the child's holistic performance, not just academics. Now, how can parents collaborate with their children's teachers? How can we do that? The first thing that we need to know as parents is that we are the first teachers to these children, and it is our divine and primary responsibility to educate our parents, to educate our children. It is a primary obligation of every parent. It is not something you're supposed to be told. It is not something you need some sort of maybe a loudspeaker to know. It's something which by divine mandate, the day you decided to conceive that child, you accepted that you were going to be that child's teacher. So when they talk of collaboration, that's why most often they're talking of collaboration. Collaboration. The very first thing you're supposed to do as a parent to collaborate with your child's teacher is knowing how to communicate and using all the available communication media that we have. Nowadays, it's very easy to get through to your child's teacher in just a second. The distance between you and your child's teacher has been reduced to just a message, a text message, a call, which can be audio and even video. I believe that the digital era has made communication very easy. And we, the parents, should leverage the digital age to always keep in touch with our children's teachers. It is funny to hear some parents say, I hardly open, for example, you have a class WhatsApp forum, and a parent is saying, I hardly open that forum. I'm always busy. I hardly see messages. We have to leverage all these to collaborate with our children's teachers. There is WhatsApp. There are a whole lot of those platforms through which we can collaborate. Here we are using StreamYard. There is Zoom. There is Google Meet. Some of those platforms, we can use them to collaborate with our children's teachers. If you don't know, it is very important for you as a parent to learn how to use some of these platforms. It is very necessary, because at times I know teachers give assignments and you want to help your child or assist your child in the assignment, and you are maybe totally blank. You don't even know from where to start. I used to get that a lot with my children's parents. I used to get that a lot. And you could easily have maybe a Zoom session or maybe a video WhatsApp call, and the teacher can brief you on how to go about assisting I insist on assisting because at times parents tend to do assignments for their children. They tend to just take the book and just do it. You are supposed to assist, as guide, facilitate, and supervise. So the first thing, as I've said, let's learn how to leverage digital tools or digital platforms to collaborate with our children's teachers. Be active in the various class WhatsApp forum or fora that have been created for each class where your child belongs. Very important. The digital age has come to stay. It is not going anytime soon. So it is incumbent on us, the parents, to do everything possible to be up to date with the most essential of these digital tools and platforms through which we can collaborate with the teachers. And then secondly, you can collaborate with your children's teachers by providing your child with the necessary learning materials he or she need or they need. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult for the teacher to work with your child if you haven't provided all that the child needs in order to study in class. Take, for example, your child gets to class without a pen, without a pencil, without a textbooks or exercise books. It makes the teacher's work difficult. Very, very difficult. I've had cases whereby you see their children, it's not like maybe the parents are struggling financially. Actually, you know the parents personally, and you know that these are parents who actually can provide these things. But just out of negligence, they send the child to school with just very few exercise books. The book gets finished. It takes the parent ages to buy or to replace the finished one, and no single textbook. And when you ask, the parent tends to tell you, back then when we were going to school, we used to have just 2 exercise books and maybe 1 reader. Times have changed and things have changed and they keep on changing. Your era is different. The school needs of children nowadays is different from the school needs you had back then. And the best way you can collaborate with the teachers, one of the ways is by providing all the learning materials that your child needs. It is very, very important. At times, parents say, I don't have the money to buy textbooks. I don't have money to do this. We live in a knowledge-filled era whereby knowledge is littered everywhere at almost no cost. I always say you must not buy new textbooks for your child. You go to, for example, for those who are in Bamenda, you go to Commercial Avenue, you will see there are these book vendors that sell second-hand books, fairly used books, and you can get them at very cheaper prices. You can get them very affordable, and your child will use. So that is one of the ways that you can collaborate with your child or your children's teachers. Provide them with all that they need, and as such, it will facilitate the teacher's work. The third way we can collaborate with our children's teachers to enhance the performance of our children is by paying regular visits. Paying regular visits to school. Well, there are some schools that might have policies whereby they have particular times within the year that you can visit. But then there are some schools that you can actually visit frequently, as much as you want. So we can collaborate by paying regular visits to find out from our children's teachers how our children are faring. How our children are faring. It is very important that at the beginning of the academic year, especially the first day, it's important for you to accompany your child to school and get to meet his or her teacher. Take contacts or exchange contacts with the teacher, and you let the teacher know if your child has any difficulty or not. It is very, very important. When you do that, it helps the teacher. The teacher knows that, okay, this child has this difficulty and I have to do this to help this child. After the first day, you can be visiting. I had a parent who was visiting monthly, following up the child monthly. He will come every time and ask, how is my child doing? That's a very important question. And any teacher who is really serious can give you enough information about your child's performance just by that question. How is my child doing? And I can tell you, academically, your child is like this. Socially, your child is like this. Physically, your child is like this. I give you all the necessary information. Some of these visits are very important because at times our children have a double identity. A child might be a cat in school, meanwhile at home, that child is a tiger. So when you visit your child's teacher, you can easily, both of you can easily help the child, or people can easily look for a way to actually bring out the authentic personality of that child. What is causing the child to be a tiger at home and then a cat in school? When I say cat, the child is very soft, very calm in school, but back at home, the child is something else. What might be causing that? So regular visits are very important. And when the child knows that my parent or my father, my mother, my guardian is always coming to school to check on how I am doing and is always in constant communication with my teacher, that child will always be very conscious, very, very conscious. And when they say, okay, you should pay regular visits, please, you do not owe a teacher anything. You do not owe a teacher anything. You must not tip a teacher when you visit. You must not. Because I've got parents saying, what will I go and give? I don't have anything to go and give the teacher. This. No. That is not the reason why you are visiting the teacher. That is not the reason. In some schools, it is even forbidden for you to give any tip to any teacher. You can give it out of school, but when you're coming to school, you're coming for a purpose. For a purpose. And not having a tip for the teacher should not stop you from coming. So for us to collaborate with our children's teachers, we must pay regular visits. Some schools, you need to pass through the administration, obtain permission, and then they can give you time. Some schools, you need to book for that session and they give you time to come and do that. It is very important. If you can do it monthly, if you don't have time, you can call and ask maybe the teacher, when can we really talk? Be intentional about it. It should not be a call for pleasantries. No, you are discussing about the future of your child. So regular visits are very important. Very, very important. Then the next way we can collaborate with our children's teachers is by attending school events. Some people, unfortunately, or some parents, unfortunately, when they call for PTA meetings, they are always very busy. They don't have time. they will miss one or two clients if they attend the meeting. There is a lot that is discussed or that your presence in a school PTA meeting can change a lot if you got there with a focus. Unfortunately, most parents go for PTA meetings to go and be complaining about this money up and down, looking at where have they spent this, what have they done here, and all of that, forgetting the most important thing, which is the the holistic performance of the children. Forgetting that, they keep on complaining. Hey, today we have not eaten very well. Hey, they have not given us refreshment for this PTA meeting. Come on, is that the reason why you are going for that meeting? You should be concerned about things that will affect either directly or indirectly your child's holistic performance. You should be concerned about that. In my school, for example, we are still a small school, a baby school. We're still trying to, build. We prefer, like last year, we prioritized individual class PTAs, such that when the class teacher is there, the head teacher is there, a member of the school management is there, and the parent is there. That forms the school community, and they can look at the problems of each and every class. The parents bring out what they have observed in each child. The teacher gives feedback or respond to what they are saying, and together they look for a way forward. So it is very important for parents to attend school events. We should not be overwhelmed by our hustles and bustles that we forget even the reason why we are hustling. We are hustling for those children. And if there is anything that is going to affect the life of that child, let's make sure we are present. It is an hour, it is 2 hours, be there. Some parents, unfortunately, actually go for PTA meetings just that, or so that the amount or the money they pay for PTA levy should not just go like that without them benefiting from the refreshment at the PTA meeting. It might sound very petty, but I have heard comments of they actually consume the amount of money or the money they paid for their PTA levy. When we go for these meetings, let us, even after the meetings, talk, a one-on-one chat. We corner the teacher and we have a one-on-one chat with the teacher. And we talk with the teacher. We talk about what we've observed. So that means before you even visit the teacher, can you hear me? Please, the session suddenly ended at my end. I don't know what happened.
All right, so I think Mr. Sainz is having a couple of challenges while waiting for him to come back on. I'm going to try to get him back. I'm sure he's almost at the end of his presentation. While he's sorting out his network challenges and before he comes back on. Okay, he's back. All right, so I'll just add him on stage and then I move out of the way so he can complete his presentation.
Can you hear me now, Dr. Jen?
We can hear you very well. We can hear you. Go ahead. Right on.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So as I was saying before, the lines got interrupted. When you go for school events, for example, you have PTA meetings, you have open door days, you have maybe there could be a Christmas party, all those events, try to attend. Your voice counts. Look at things critically with a positive mind, with a constructive mind, with the intention to build. As I said, corner, always try to have it could just be 1 minute, 2 minutes. Just ask, how is my child doing? How is my child doing? That means you, as the parent, before going for such events, you must have been observing your child. Because when a parent approaches me and asks how the child is doing, at the end of the day, I ask you, but according to your own observation, how is this child doing? Let me maybe hear from you, your own observation, so that we could try to maybe reconcile the two perspectives. But if you are not observing your child, it will be very difficult, very, very difficult for you to actually maybe really serious or intentional about what he or she is doing with your child. So, dear parents, we should know that we are integral members of the school community in which our children belong. And we have to be part and parcel of every activity, of every happy. They are very happy, at least that their parents came and they were present at the meeting. Then there is one or two quotations that I wish to share with you. And the first one is that alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. It doesn't suffice for you as the parent to pay the child's fees and provide the child with writing materials. Your constant follow-up and collaboration with your child's teacher through the various ways I have mentioned is very important. Very, very important. Because the teacher alone cannot educate a child, and a parent alone cannot educate a child. It is a communal effort, a joint effort has to be involved. There is a part that only you can play, and there is a part that only the teacher can play. There is a part that the school has to play and the community has to play. When all these actors come together, then the child's future, the child's sound academic performance, holistic performance can be guaranteed. If one piece is missing, if one of the actors is absent, then we are preparing a half-baked child, a half-baked citizen. The second quotation is that coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Let me repeat that. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. When you come together, the teachers, the children, the parents, when they come together, the parent comes and leave the child in school or enroll the child in school, that is the beginning. When you keep together, that is progress. And when you work together, that is when the academic performance of your child, the holistic performance of your child can be successful. Only when you work together. There must be work at both ends. In my school, for example, we have questionnaires that parents fill when they come for our open door. Our open door is simply a time for parents to come and have a one-on-one discussion with the teachers of their parents. That's our purpose. That's our own kind of open door that we do. We give room for parents to come in. It's a week-long activity. So they come in and they have a one-on-one conversation. At times, they bring in the child in the conversation. You see, after that, the child changes. There are a set of questions that they go through to evaluate the child. We have that twice a year. In November and sometime around March. In November, we identify the child. At least by November, the teacher must have identified the child's difficulty. So when you come as a parent, you communicate and you identify this is this child's difficulty. Now you discuss with the teacher. What then can we do to improve on this child's academic performance, on this child's holistic performance, to improve on the attitude of this child? So they now discuss and then they set strategies on how they are going to go about to help this teacher. What will the teacher be doing in school and what will the parent be doing at home? Very important. And then in March now, we come now to evaluate to see if those strategies have worked. If they have worked. Very. There is something I almost forgot. Assignments. Assignments. In some schools, there's a culture of giving assignments every day. In some, they have specific days they give. One of the ways we collaborate with the following our children when they come back home to be sure that they do the assignment so that when they go back to school the next day, the teacher can now continue with his or her work progressively. But some of us, maybe our children come back home, we don't care. We don't even ask if there was homework. Yes, we know some of us are busy. Some of us are pretty busy. But just come, just ask. Just open the book and check. Just open and check. Has the child done that's the least you can even do, just to check if the child has done it. If you then have the luxury of the time to maybe go into detail to see if the assignment is correctly done, you can now be checking and going into those details. It is very important. Very, very important. We should also
All right. So sorry about that once again. I think due to his network signal, once again he has switched off, but I think that he was already rounding up with his presentation, and he should be back any moment from now. But while waiting for him to come back, I'm sure you have questions for him or comments to make. You can always share your comments in the comment section so that we can have him respond to to the questions that you may have. So just ask your questions. Now keep typing your questions in the comment section so that as soon as he comes back on, he can begin to answer the questions, because we still have one more session to have for tonight, right? And what we have to handle tonight is pretty important. We have to look at how to prime the home learning environment, how to make learning at home fun and engaging, effective, and all of that, how to help your child learn effectively. That's what we are supposed to round up this webinar with after Mr. Sainzeze finishes with his presentation. I think that, let me see your comments in the comment section. I know that there are a lot of network challenges, but we are resilient, right? We keep pushing through in spite of the challenges. So let me know if you have questions for Mr. Sainzeze while we're waiting for him to come back on to take the questions that we may have. Just let me see them in the comments. All right, so I see quite a few amazing responses in the comments. We have Kwachu Ella says, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress. Yes, so she's penning down some of the pertinent points that he has been raising. She says, coming together is a beginning and keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Yes, that was pretty insightful. And someone else here says, Michelle Kamapi says, I really like the idea of class PTA meeting. Yes, it's really amazing. I think that's what we have going on in my children's school. And though I really believe that there are a few schools that, while the class PTA meeting is really good because it kind of forces parents, those parents who don't think it's necessary to meet with the teacher, to meet the teacher and be able to get collaboration. So the school uses this to enforce teacher-parent collaboration. So it's really great. But personally, I think that when the class PTA meeting completely replaces the idea of the global parent-teacher association for the entire school body, then there is a lot that is going to be left unsaid as far as the teacher's voice being heard. Because the parent-teacher class meeting, right, does not guarantee that the pertinent concerns that certain parents may have about the school policies, about how the school is running, about other issues that may be bigger than just the class itself may not be heard. So I don't understand. I think Mr. Sainzeze is really having some pertinent issues. He's not yet back, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write them in the comments. So someone else here says, Shebum Vera, she says, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Yes, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Teamwork, collaboration is key for priming, for curating a right learning environment for your child. So while he was going on, because personally I was learning to write, I've taken my own notes and I was ready to have some kind of an interactive session with Mr. Sainzeze before, okay, he's back. That's great. So let me just have him on so that he rounds up quickly and then we can go on to take any questions that we may have or interact on the amazing tips that he has shared with us. You're welcome back. I think that you should,
Thank you.
I'm sure you're already at the end or almost at the end of your presentation.
Yes. I was already concluding, rounding off.
Okay, great. So just round off so that we can have a little bit of interaction, maybe in like 10 minutes before you give way for me to complete what we had to present to round up the webinar.
All right. Good.
Over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I would love to challenge each and every parent present here or watching and listening to this to make a commitment that come the 2024-2025 academic year and beyond, he or she is going to create a healthy and sustainable collaborative spirit with his or her children's teachers. It is a commitment you can make, and you make sure you stay faithful to that commitment. You can even tell your children to always remind you if you are forgetting, either to call your teacher or your child's teacher, or to pay a physical visit to the teacher. When they say paying visits to the teacher in school, don't go and spend the whole day and all of that. Those meetings must be booked. You book for those for audience, and then they can tell you at what time. The teacher can always tell you at what time you can come. It can be break time. It can be after school time. It depends on the time that is going to be convenient and time which is not going to interfere into the teaching time of the teacher. So let's make that commitment, and together, the success of our children, the future of our children will be safeguarded and guaranteed. I hope you at least got something. And if there is an opportunity, I would love to share more with you. This is what I prepared for you this evening. And thank you very much for your keen attention. Over to you, Dr. Jen.
Amazing. Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, you can. I mean, the comment section is buzzing. We have, the parents are really glad for the tips and for the insight that you shared with us to help us parents be able to, build that collaborative relationship with the teachers moving forward. I'm just going to share my own personal academic year. I made a commitment, and in the first month of my children beginning the school year, I was in school every Friday. This was agreed with the teacher. Every Friday, I would call and I show up at school physically to meet with the teacher, because I needed to get the teachers to understand the child they have and the child's learning style and all of those things. And it was amazing, right? It was really key for encouraging the teacher and for, establishing some kind of presence. And after the first month, once the ones which had a little bit of difficulties were settled in, I reduced that to once every 2 weeks or once a month. Eventually, it became once a month. But every Friday, I would check in with the teacher to find out, how was this week? How did it go? Don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's any concern, any issue. And it was amazing. And that was it, right? Just that willingness to I believe that the positive involvement of parents is one of those single most important factors that can really make a difference for their child's academic journey. And you said something, you said that children are encouraged, right? They are stirred, they are excited to know that their parents small things that we do sometimes, or we overlook and think that the children don't really care. They will share with me how they will tell me the children whose parents did not show up, because the teacher would actually note that their own parents didn't show up. So these small things that, we parents may look as trivial, to those children, it means a lot. What do you have to say about that? I don't know if you got that.
No, I didn't get you very well.
All right, where did you lose me?
About parents looking at some things to be trivial.
Trivial. Yeah, I was just sharing the story of how my kids will come back home after the parent-teacher class meeting to tell me about the particular children in class whose parents didn't show up and how sad they were.
Yeah, actually, personally, what I do is when we call for class PTA meetings, I always make sure I take attendance is normally something that should be done. But when I have the attendance, the next day I read the attendance in class and I tell the children,
Yeah.
these are the parents who came for the meeting. Because when you write your name as a parent, you write the child's name. So when I read that, those whose parents came are always very excited. Very excited. And you actually see those whose parents did not come very bad, really feeling bad. And I tell them, go and hold your parents, hold them and ask them why they didn't show up for the meeting. Go and hold them so that they explain to you why they didn't show up for the meeting. So, and you see, it actually, dampens the life in the child. And the child goes home with a commitment, a commitment to ask the parent why they had to fail in attending the meeting. And at the end of the day, he's embarrassed in front of his or her classmates. At times, you might think that children are not embarrassed. You might think that they are children and they cannot be embarrassed. No. They don't take it like that. Because I have the story of a parent who actually came and said, this child could not allow me to drink water because I did not come for the PTA meeting. Please, I have come so that at least you can give me a summary of what was discussed. I will plead that you call the child so that the child can come and see me and, confirm that at least I have come and seen you. Because
it makes a big difference when parents show up.
Yes, because the child was not saying that because you didn't show up for I'm going to fail my exam because you will not know how to follow me, how to teach me at home, how the other parents are now teaching their own children at home. And the parent actually came and was, so embarrassed by the way the child approached her. So it is, there is nothing
that's really, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, it's not small. So we have a couple of questions. I would like you to quickly go over them. I think there's one on the screen. I believe you can see it. Can you see the comment, the question on the screen?
Yes. How do you handle a teacher who always...
So you can read it out and then you...
Shuts down a curious kid
by not
always responding to the child's question in class. As a school administrator, if I happen to hear or to see a teacher, any of the teachers in my school, trying to hush down a child who is inquisitive, who is curious, if you are not careful, you might lose your job. Why are you trying to? Because there are some children who talk a lot, and that is where their own intelligence lies. They have verbal intelligence. They might not have mathematical intelligence, musical intelligence, physical intelligence, but their intelligence lies in their ability to communicate, to think, to speak out. If you realize that a teacher is always shutting down your child who is curious, I think it's something serious that you need to approach the school administration and get it handled as soon as possible. As it is not something you have to joke with or take lightly. Because they might end up frustrating the child and just killing the child's intelligence, because children are not intelligent the same way. That's why I always say that no parent should conclude that a child is dull or that a child is not smart. Have you really taken a tour around your child's life to discover which type of intelligence the child has? So please, it is something, if the teacher, if you've approached the teacher and the teacher is still adamant, then I think you need to approach the school administration to let them know this is what your inquisitive and curious child is going through. So that is my response to that question. I don't know if it is satisfactory.
So let me just send across the second question, and let's get through with that, because we have to end the session so we can proceed to have the next session.
Okay.
Can you see the second question?
Not yet. I can't see the question. Okay. What about those in the secondary school with many teachers? I think that's the second question.
She's asking how with many teachers. So how does she collaborate with the many teachers at the secondary level? That's the question.
Yes. It will cost you nothing. It will cost you nothing if you can actually get the contacts of the teachers that teach your children even at the secondary level. It will cost you nothing. There at the secondary level, it is even very important. Very, very important, because it's unlike the primary school where you have one teacher who is constantly there with the children. So it will cost you nothing if you can actually take the time to have the contact of all the teachers that teach your child. That is, if you really prioritize, if you can give priority to the academic performance of your child, then I don't think that will be a difficult task for you to do. Or if you think it is not necessary to get all the contacts, maybe you know your child's weak areas, you might want to have, the contacts of those teachers, and maybe the contact of a discipline master, or the vice principal, or someone who is constantly around those children, so that they can keep an eye on your child and constantly follow them up. But as I said at the beginning, it will cost you nothing to have the contact of all the teachers who teach your child. Then the next question is, how do I connect with the many teachers? Okay, I don't know. Maybe in the secondary school, their child might have like 15 teachers. Yeah. 15 teachers. If you have a contact of, or the contact of, maybe, as I said, few of them who are constantly, in school and in class with your child, then it can be possible for them to monitor the progress of your child, even through their colleagues. Even through their colleagues, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of them, and they can easily, you can always call them, and they monitor your child's performance. Dr. Jen, I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, I'm seeing a question whereby someone is asking if it is okay if they can report a teacher who is not willing to collaborate to the school authority or to the school administration. Yes, that is the best thing to do. That's the best thing to do. At times, there was was it last year or the other year? I had a problem with a teacher. Um, a parent came and was complaining about the way the teacher was treating the child, and the teacher asked the parent if the parent wants to teach her job, or how to do her job. That was a very big problem, and if not because of student consideration, we were already considering terminating the teacher's contract with us. Because at times, parents see things that teachers don't actually see. Being a teacher doesn't mean one has monopoly of knowledge. And such teachers actually should go for a training. They need to be taught how to be humble. When you see those who actually know, those who are really knowledgeable, they are not proud. They are never proud. They believe that everybody has an opinion which can be helpful. So if you have a teacher who is refusing to collaborate, it suffices that you report the teacher to the school administration. Actually, you take it to the school administration. This is what I have been trying to collaborate with this teacher so that my child can be taught or can be handled, or this difficulty of my child can be handled, but the teacher is not collaborating. And I think the school administration can actually do something. then how can you handle a parent who comes to school and insult his or her child's teacher in front of the child? Good. In this case, you need to, first of all, the teacher or teachers always have to be formed and cautioned never to exchange words with a parent in front of the children. They should never exchange words. The parent can come and shout and talk, and out of maybe a misunderstanding, a frustration, or something, you can come and shout and talk and go. But teachers, in most cases, should be cautioned never to exchange words with any parent in front of the kids. And then, now, this is done in front of the child. I believe that first, as I said, this visit should you have to book and state the reason why you are visiting. So that if you come and you're going out of your reason, you're going out of the reason you stated, you can be walked out of the school. The school security can walk you out. Your visit has to be objective. If you come and you are tabling your complaint to the teacher, and the teacher is not seeing reason with you, and the teacher cannot reason with you, it suffices that you go quietly to the administration and you explain yourself to them. I believe that the administration can always listen to you and make sure that your problem is solved. But as a parent, I would love to advise, before you go to school, calm down, bring down yourself. Don't leave the house with that kind of temper and you are going to school. Calm down, and when you make sure that you are emotionally stable, when you are emotionally stable and you are not thinking and reasoning with your head, then can you go to school and face the teacher so that you dialogue with the teachers. At times, we get misinformed by our children. Maybe they carry information home and they don't, communicate it to us well, or some things they say and you might not know exactly what happened. So you don't just need to rush to school and start quarreling with the teacher in front of the children. So the parents also need to keep themselves under control when they visit the school to approach the teachers of their children. I believe I've answered all the questions.
Yeah, there's one more question. So in the case where the teacher doesn't want to collaborate, can we report them to the school authority? The teacher doesn't want to collaborate. Can the parent now proceed to report to the school authority?
Sure, they should do that. They have the right. They have the right to they have access to the school administration. They should report the issue to the school administration so the school administration can intervene. If you fail to do that, at the end of the day, when your child doesn't perform to his or her full potential, then you have yourself to blame. Always approach the school administration. Always approach. Once you find it difficult collaborating with a teacher, always go in good faith. Do that in good faith. Don't go there to maybe try to sabotage. Just say that you people have struggled to come to a compromise or to find a common ground on this particular issue, and it's been difficult, and you think that maybe if there is a third party, not coming in to maybe try to bully the teacher, or so, just a third party coming in to try to moderate so that you can find a common ground to that common problem, I think that will be very helpful. That will be very helpful. If it is in cases of maybe a nonchalant behavior from the teacher, or the teacher is just too proud and all of that, maybe the administration can decide otherwise. Maybe we will not work with you again. maybe they lay off the teacher.
Or in the case
They
of
lay off the
malpractice,
teacher.
in the case of
That is easily done.
inappropriate
It is
practices.
easily done. Sorry, Doc.
I say, or in the case of malpractice, maybe the teacher is having an inappropriate behavior, maybe towards the child, and the parent has tried to caution the teacher, but the teacher still won't hearken.
Yes, so you get some teachers who rain insults on children.
All right, I
You are
guess that you
dog.
have difficulties.
So if in cases
Yeah.
in cases like that, no, that one you don't need to waste time. You don't need to waste time. It is better that the teacher just leave than to sabotage the image of the school.
Yeah. But what if the school doesn't want to let the teacher go? So now it's between choosing, between you and your. I think one of the things I think parents need to realize. I think throughout this webinar, I've emphasized the fact that the parent is the most important piece. The parent is the most important personality on the child's academic journey, because the role the parent plays is so crucial, right? Including choosing the school, and choosing the school means choosing that class teacher, because there are some schools that would not, would hesitate to let go of a teacher for the sake of one child or for the sake of one parent and their child's situation. But I think that parents also need to be flexible. They need to realize that they have the power to make those decisions, and that when a school is really at a disadvantage for your child, you can decide to change the environment completely. Radical decisions like that can be the game changer for your child.
Completely.
Because I've had parents who endure, the child is just sinking and going down and down and just struggling. And in spite of all the parents' efforts to collaborate, to get things working, nothing is working, nothing is going. Then just admit the fact that, be humble enough to say that maybe I made a mistake with the choice of the school. Because some schools, when they become so populated, they now begin to treat individual parents as, dispensable, right? Without you, we're still going to be fine. That's why I think that the attitude or the desire to continuously grow and to improve is one of those things that we must always look out for in schools, because there are some schools that are already so popular, have already established themselves, that they have lost the desire to continue to improve and to continue to grow. And for me, that's a red flag. Once a school hits that point, then it's not an environment where you want to put your child. All right, so you have had, I think we've answered all the questions. I know that the network has really been a big issue. And I think that we are going to, can you hear me, Mr. Clarence? Mr. Clarence, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Doc.
Let me know if you can hear me, please.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Okay, so I think that at this point, we are going to have to. All right, great. So thank you so much for availing yourself. Thank you so much for enlightening us with some very practical tips, and based on your experience as an administrator, on how parents can, approach the established collaboration with the teachers of their children, especially at the secondary level, right? I think that you've really shared some pertinent insights. I took my own notes, and I would have loved that we have a conversation based on the things that I noted down that I wanted us to emphasize and highlight, but for the sake of time, we may not be able to do that. I think that someone is protesting that she put her question in first and it's not been answered. Okay, I think I've seen the question. All right, so that's the question. Please answer before we shut down.
Okay. My question is, visiting and revisiting, does it go for teens too? Will visiting their school often not seem like checking and not trusting them? Or should I communicate with my kids the reason for that? Yes, 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 yes. It is very important. It's very important. If you know that your child will be worried that you are constantly visiting his or her teacher, it is simple for you to put your child down and you explain to the child, I'm going to be paying regular visits to your teacher so that together with your teacher and you included, will be finding ways to make sure that you are performing well in school. This problem you are facing in this subject is being solved, and we make sure that you
Okay.
remain at the top and all of that. I think that should not be a difficult thing for you to put your child down and communicate with him or her. I think a child will even be very happy and very open to you in such a way that if they teach anything in school and he or she doesn't understand, they are always going to run back to you to tell you that our teacher taught this, but I did not understand. Could you please maybe pass a call across to my teacher to say that I didn't understand this? Maybe the teacher can explain, further or help me understand this. I think it's going to make the child to be open whenever the child is facing any academic challenges. So
Yeah.
communicate with the child if you discover that the child is disturbed by a regular visit. I think that is what I can say about that question.
Yeah, I think that if I can add something to that, I think that you also have to judge like the necessity because like I said earlier, for my own personal experience, at the beginning of the academic year, right, I was still in the process of establishing, some kind of communication and collaboration with the teacher. So I needed to visit often. But as soon as that was established, I reduced my presence. I cut it back and I made it more frequent for the child that had challenges. So the child who had a challenge, I would increase the visits, but then I would go back, I would reduce depending on how the child is thriving. I step back. So I think that judging based on that can also tell you how involved you need to be. Sometimes you may get to an environment and your child is really having difficulties settling in that environment. That should tell you that you need to do more in that season until the child is able to, get their issues sorted. If the child had maybe some kind of difficulty, a learning disability, or some physical attribute, maybe poor vision, the child needed some special consideration where they sit in class. It depends. You need to be able to judge the necessity of your amount of presence. Let's put it that way, right? At the beginning, when there is a pressing need or something that needs to be sorted, then you avail yourself. You make yourself available. You can say, okay, I'm going to visit this amount of times. I'm going to reach the teacher through the phone, through text. It depends. So you have to be able to judge. But that's why you need to, above all, establish a warm relationship with your child, because it is also your child that will give you feedback about the challenges they're facing in school so that you would know when you need to step in. But most importantly, even outside of the child telling you it's not working here, it's not working there, you must be able to judge how present do I need to be to make a working relationship established with this teacher. Some teachers are easier than others. And someone asked the question saying, what if the teacher doesn't want to collaborate? One of the things that you need to learn as a human being is how to be relational. Different people need different things. Usually we try to use a one-size-fits-all approach for every person. Just because this teacher, you did this and it worked, doesn't mean the other person is going to work with that person. People are different. So what part of the things you have to try to learn to do is to understand who you're dealing with and figure out how can everybody has an in. Everybody has a doorway. You just need to figure out what is this person's doorway. And I like the fact that you emphasized that parents should move away from trying to give gifts and chipping, it's like you're trying to bribe your way into the teacher's heart. That is not the way to do it. I believe that genuine concern and also having empathy towards the teacher is one of it reaches there's no human being that cannot relate to empathy, right? So one of the ways that you can be able to relate and establish a good relationship with the teacher is by being empathetic as a parent, trying to be supportive and not just my child, my child, my child. And sometimes you come in and some parents have some extra demands that is almost like favorite. You want the teacher to give your child a special treatment. That's when you start finding yourself giving money and giving gifts and stuff like that. And I think trying to create that situation for your child is not really going to help the child, because you will not really know how well your child can thrive if you're always trying to buy their way into the teacher's heart, that's not a good practice, right? If you are in the habit of buying your way into the teacher's heart and try to get your child to have special treatment all the time, it's not going to serve that child. It's not going to serve you in the long run. Your child needs to be able, to be in an environment where they have equal chances with every other person so you can truly see their potential. When you start bribing your way to the teacher's heart, the teacher may feel compelled to, polish up the child's performance a little bit. And that's going to cause you not to see the real issues if there are real issues. I don't know what you think about this, Mr. Clarence.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Teachers are human beings, and at times those tips that parents come and give might influence you. Advertently, you might be influenced.
Yeah.
You might not know, but gradually, that influence creep into your soft spot, and you start kind of
Mm-hmm.
giving some favors to
Yeah.
that child. Maybe the child is failing, and you are like, how would this parent feel after always coming and giving me this tip? And the child is
Yes.
performing like, maybe I should just top
Yeah.
these marks for this child so that the parents should not feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what some
Mm-hmm.
just actually they don't want to be frank.
Yeah.
They don't want to be honest. And I think that kills
Mm-hmm.
children a lot. Kills children a lot.
Yeah,
Parents
it
don't
does.
uh, don't come to know the true nature of the child's performance,
Yeah.
except that which has been
Yeah.
painted,
Very true.
painted by the teacher who wants to maybe reciprocate the tips he has been receiving from the parent.
Yeah. So I think that in trying to create that right learning environment for your child, your goal should not be to get your child to be, treated special and spared of deserved consequences. If you're a purposeful parent here, those who have taken my course, who work with me, whom I've coached, you know what I've taught you. We've learned about consequences and how important it is that children are held accountable for their behavior and for their choices. When you bribe your way into your child's teacher's heart, one of the things they're going to try to do is to, they'll start feeling compelled to sometimes even spare those consequences. The child will come to school not having done the homework. The teacher will just overlook it because, I've been taking all of these things and maybe I should give this child. It doesn't help your child. It will not help your
Mhm.
child. Your child needs, the teacher is a co-parent. Most parents don't realize this, but the teacher, the school, they are parenting partners. Co-parents a bit strong, they are parenting partners on your journey. And if you are creating a situation where the teacher is not able to, hold your child accountable, let them know that they need to sit up, they need to, there are rules to be followed, and your child feels like they can bend the rules anyhow, you are doing your child a disservice. You're doing your child a disservice, right? You want your child to understand that there are systems, and when you're in a system, you need to know how to behave yourself properly. That's a lesson children must learn as they grow older. That's why we see kids who are seeping into the secondary level and they are still having issues that should have been handled in the primary level because of situations like this, where the child just, glides through primary school, having been favored all through and given preferential treatment, and gets to secondary level, which is much harder, much complex, and requires even complex relationship skills, and the child is not able to deliver because the foundation was porous. Right. So thank you so much, Mr.
Exactly.
Clarence. I think that you have hijacked the entire time. But anyway, not just you, because the network did not really allow us to function as planned. So what we're going to do is
Yeah.
that in our during our next Wednesday live, we're going to have the topic that was supposed to be handled.
Okay.
It's been an amazing session with you, Mr. Clarence. I personally have been, I've been jived up.
Dr. Jen, are you there? Can anybody hear me?
Next, you avail yourself for another collaboration so that we can enlighten more parents. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of the Back to School webinar, or this part of it. See, continue with our discussion in your home and how to help your child learn effectively. We are yet to look at study habits and the learning styles, and also the little things, little changes you can make in your home that will enhance your child's learning